I recently decided to rewatch a series about one man who can make a difference. And it got me thinking about the reboot. It's always a gamble to take a beloved classic and try to modernize it, especially when the original still holds a strong place in pop culture. Sometimes you get a well-crafted continuation that respects the source material while introducing fresh ideas. Other times you get a soulless, cynical cash grab that ignores everything that made the original work. And then there's Knight Rider 2008, a show that had potential, genuinely tried to carry on the Knight Rider legacy, but never really had a chance to succeed. Welcome to the Snake Pit, where we're full of bile and venom. I'm your host, Snake Daemon, and today we're looking at Knight Rider 2008, a show that should have been a worthy successor, but instead ended up as an ill-fated reboot that tried too hard to reinvent the wheel. Unlike some reboots that throw out everything and start from scratch, Knight Rider 2008 at least made an effort to acknowledge its roots. The show was a continuation of the original Knight Rider following Mike Tracer, Justin Bruning, the long-lost son of Michael Knight, David Hasselhoff. After a staged death, Mike takes on the new identity of Michael Knight II and is recruited by Knight Industries to work with the next generation of KITT, the Knight Industries 3000, voiced by Val Kilmer. This new KITT wasn't just an upgrade, he was practically a different character altogether. Gone was the original KITT's dry wit and snarky personality, replaced with a much more monotone, almost emotionless AI. While Kilmer is a great actor, his version of KITT lacked the charm and warmth that made William Daniels' portrayal so iconic. Sure, this KITT had all the tech upgrades you'd expect from a modern supercar: morphing capabilities, adaptive camouflage, an insane weapons system, but the soul of the character just wasn't there. The reboot also introduced a whole new team. Sarah Grayman, played by Deanna Russo, is the daughter of Charles Grayman, who essentially replaced Devon Miles as KITT's creator. She serves as both the love interest and the brains of the operation. Then we have Billy Morgan, portrayed by Paul Campbell, and Zoe Che, played by Smith Cho. They are the tech experts and comic relief duo handling the back end of Knight Industries. Alex Torres, brought to life by Yancy Arias, is the NSA agent overseeing operations. Lastly, Carrie Rivai, played by Sydney Tamaya Poitier, is an FBI agent who provided additional support but was later written out of the show. Unlike the original series, where Michael Knight worked mostly alone with KITT and occasionally Devon and Bonnie, this version felt more like an ensemble show, splitting its focus between different characters. While that's not inherently a bad thing, it took away from the central one man and his car dynamic that made the original so engaging. Right from the start, Knight Rider 2008 faced an uphill battle. The original Knight Rider was a product of the 80s, a time when action shows were larger than life, with cool cars, ridiculous stunts, and a sense of fun that modern TV often lacks. The reboot tried to modernize the formula by mixing elements of spy thrillers, procedural dramas, and high-tech espionage, but in doing so it lost what made the original so beloved. One of the biggest missteps was KARR. In the original series, KARR, which stands for Knight Automated Roving Robot, was KITT's prototype, programmed with a self-preservation directive that turned him into a recurring villain. Fans remember him as an intimidating rogue AI with a deep, menacing voice and a real presence. In the reboot, they turned him into a giant robot. Yes, KARR was no longer just an evil talking car. He could transform into a full-fledged combat mecha, complete with missile launchers and mechanical limbs. And look, I love giant robots as much as the next guy, but this felt like a desperate attempt to cash in on the Transformers hype rather than staying true to Knight Rider. KARR was supposed to be a mirror to KITT, a dark reflection of what happens when AI is misused, reducing him to a mechanical monster stripped away everything that made him interesting in the first place. Beyond that, the show had an identity crisis. The original Knight Rider balanced its campy charm with genuine action and adventure. It was never gritty or dark. It was a fun, action-packed show that didn't take itself too seriously. The reboot, however, kept shifting between tones. One episode, it was a tech-driven espionage thriller. The next, it felt like a procedural drama. Then, suddenly, there were half-baked attempts at humor that just didn't land. It never fully committed to a single direction, making it feel inconsistent and disjointed. And let's be real, this show never stood a chance. When you reboot an iconic series like Knight Rider, you're not just competing against other TV shows, you're competing against people's memories. Nostalgia is a powerful thing, and fans of the original weren't going to embrace something that wiped the slate clean and ignored most of what made the show great. Michael Knight and KITT were the heart of the original, and without that same dynamic, the reboot always felt like an imitation rather than a continuation. Now, despite all of this, do I think Knight Rider 2008 deserved the 5.6 out of 10 IMDb and 2.5 Rotten Tomatoes scores? Not entirely. The show had potential, and for what it wasn't that bad. Some of the action was well done, the car chases were fun, and there were moments where you could see the spark of something great. One of the biggest problems was how it was handled by the network. Partway through its first season, NBC completely retooled the show, scrapping much of the government agency setup and trying to bring it back to a more traditional Knight Rider formula. But by that point, it was too late. Viewership had already dropped, and it was clear that the show wasn't going to last. Honestly, Knight Rider 2008 deserved a second chance, not a reboot, but a refinement. If they had kept more elements from the original, given KITT a proper personality, and actually embraced the one man against the odd spirit of the original, it might have worked. But as it was, it never had a fair shot. It's always tricky rebooting a beloved classic, but Knight Rider 2008 proves that just updating the tech isn't enough. A good remake or continuation has to respect what came before while bringing something fresh to the table. This show had glimpses of something worthwhile, but it was held back by studio interference, a confused identity, and the impossible task of living up to the legacy of the original. It wasn't great, but it wasn't that bad. It just never had a chance. Thanks for dropping by the Snake Pit, where we thrive on untapped potential and lost opportunities. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell, like the video, and leave your opinions in the comments, where, naturally, I won't read them. Until next time, stay venomous.